As you can see here, now we're working on the Ukraine build in honor of the people of Ukraine and what they're going through right now. This kit has so far, from what I've seen of it, proven to be a really nice kit. Really well made. The only issue I had was that the panel lines don't seem to be deep enough. And look like they're a little shallow and can get lost into the paint. So what I'm doing is scribing them in, making them a bit deeper now so that they'll stand out once the car is painted, and that'll allow us to apply a little bit of panel liner in there, get in there and really bring these panels out. Now I've already done it to the trunk lid, as the panel lines in this thing were almost non-existent. I mean, it's so shallow to the point where I could hardly see them. And here's where I ran off a little bit because the line wasn't even molded in. So that's going to be covered by the rear bumper, so it's not anything I'm really worried about. But you can see now how deep and crisp the panel lines are, so that you'll really be able to see them once the car is painted and built. Now, we're going to go over exactly how I did that. In one of my previous videos, I showed you guys the new tool that I ordered from Amazon. This is a scribing tool, and my previous method of scribing was to take the back side of my blade, which makes a great scribing tool because it is very thin and fits into most panel lines without enlarging them. So I would take the back side of the blade and just scribe along, and I thought that that was a pretty neat method. If you want to do it the least expensive way possible, just take the back side of your blade and scribe along the lines, and you'll get a pretty good result. But I figured I would go out and get this tool and see how good it is to use a dedicated scribing tool as opposed to ruining blades, because you will dull your blade out doing that. So I bought this tool, and I found that it works really, really well for providing our panel lines, for deepening our panel lines. So I'm going to show you how I did that. It's really very simple. Now, first we're going to give you a good look at the difference in the depth of the panel lines between the scribed and unscribed, and so you can see exactly why I'm going through this effort. I mean, you can really, really see a difference in the panel lines there. All right, now I was going to show you it's really very, very simple. All you're going to do is carefully place the blade within the panel line and just run straight down the panel line. Here you can see the plastic that is being removed from the panel line as the shavings now. On this car here, it is very simple because it is just a straight line down. Can get a little more complicated depending on how many curves you have and shapes you have that you have to go around. This one's very easy. Then you want to go and clean out your line. You have to apply just minimal pressure. And there we go. We have the first part of the line. Now we have a curved surface here. So here we have to be a bit more careful, as it's going to be very easy to skip across that line and bite into the plastic, as I have done more than once. And then we have the last portion of the line here. Now, this is not something you necessarily have to do, I just find that it gives a much more realistic appearance. And this panel line tool really does work great. Comes with blades of quite a few different diameter widths, so that you can do scribing quite a few different sizes. All right, now you can take a look and you can see the difference now in that panel line between the unscribed and the scribed line. And that, in my opinion, will really make a difference in your vehicle. Oops, I'm showing you the wrong one. Sorry, I wasn't looking through the camera. Okay, here we go. Now you can see the difference between the unscribed and the scribed line. Now, you may find that it leaves your edges just a little bit rough on the edge of the line you just scribed. Now, what I like to do is I take a 3000 grit piece of sanding sponge and I'll just sand it down a little bit just to smooth those edges out. Now, what you're going to find is that while you're doing that, the panel line will get filled with the residue from the plastic you just sanded. So you'll have to go back in there and just clean that out. There we go. And that cleans up your edges. Oops. Like I said, you have to be very careful that you don't scratch up the plastic, or else you'll be doing a lot more repair work. And I've been there more than once with using this procedure. But there we go. It's clean. The edges are smooth now. Because when your panel lines are really shallow, you're going to find that once you add primer and then paint, you're going to find that most of your lines, or some of your lines, can disappear. And then once you're done with this, you can give it a nice wash to clean all the remaining residue out. And now we can take a look at that, and you can see the big difference between the scribed and unscribed lines. All right, now we're going to do the other line. Now, do a little bit of sanding, clean that up a little bit. And when you'll find that when you're sanding, you'll fill the area where you may have jumped with a little bit of powder. As you can see here, where I did jump a couple of places. That's going to be an easy thing to fix, so I'm not really going to concern myself with that now. All right, now let's take a look there, and now you can see the huge difference that scribing these panel lines make. Now, I'm going to go ahead and clean up there we go. Now, sometimes when I do get those scratches in there, I go in with a little bit of a heavier grit of sandpaper, like a 320. There we go. And the little bit of damage that we did is pretty much gone. We'll clean out our line now. And then we'll go over it with the 3000 grit just to remove any of the surface scratches that we may have just done with the 320. And there we go. All we have are the small remnants of the scratches there, which will disappear under the primer. And so our door panels are now scribed. Trunk lid's all done. It looks 100% better. As you can see, I had a little jump there also. When you're going around the curves, it gets a little tough. But that's all done. Our panels are all scribed. So that's basically how we are giving ourselves realistic panel lines.